All right, last night back in the NBA, the West's second-best team, the Clippers, beat the Suns convincingly, 120-99. Kawhi back on the court after missing the last game. He had 20 points in just 27 minutes. Before the game, head coach Doc Rivers was asked about LeBron's comments in regards to load management and had some interesting comments. In reply, take a listen.
It's our philosophy. I don't know what theirs are. I think theirs is whatever LeBron says it is, to be honest. That makes a lot of sense to me. But, no, I think I like what we're doing. I think it's the smart thing to do. And, who knows? We'll see at the end.
Okay, shots fired. You got two sides here. You got Doc and Kawhi, and you got LeBron.
I grew up in Southern California. Okay? The idea that the Clippers are on the same plane or in anywhere discussion, the same plane as the Lakers, it just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
It should, because they're not, and they haven't played as such, and they won't be at the end of the year. But that's fine. We can pretend this is a rivalry until the full season plays out. But you said this coming from Doc Rivers is rich beyond belief. There is no team in basketball that has bent over backwards more to the will of one player than his Clippers with Kawhi Leonard.
Sure.
Kawhi said, trade these guys and all your picks for Paul George. No problem, sir. What else can we do for you? The Clippers said all offseason, we're not going to do the load management stuff that Kawhi did in Toronto. He's missed 8 of 29 games. The Clippers don't want to be engaging in this type of load management, putting this, you know who they'd love to be able to load manage more? Paul George, the guy who had surgery on both shoulders and had to miss the first 13 games of the first month plus of the season. I think it was 13 games. But they can't because they're load managing Kawhi Leonard. It is unbelievable that Doc Rivers would say, the Lakers' philosophy is whatever LeBron says. Ask head coach Ty Lue how that sounds. Oh, wait, he didn't get the job if it was all about what LeBron says. So now there is a history here. Doc Rivers, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett have never gotten over the Heat ending the Big Three in Boston. Paul Pierce goes on TV whenever he gets the opportunity and still fixes his mouth to say, oh, I was better than LeBron. You look like a fool. Kevin Garnett just yesterday went on Bill Simmons' podcast and was asked about why the Heat beat the Celtics, ended the Big Three. And he said, basically, the fix was in because the league wanted the Heat to win, not because, they beat you in 5 in the first year LeBron was in Miami, with LeBron ending the series on a 10-0 personal run, and then the single greatest game he's ever played in your building in Game 6, 45-15-5, to officially end the Big Three era. Doc Rivers and that crew have had something, a grudge against LeBron since then, and this is a needle, but it's a needle that is utterly hypocritical given the fact that the Clippers are the team that is doing whatever their superstar wants them to do.
Listen, you're right in calling it hypocritical. It'd also be fair to say that LeBron there were times in Cleveland where he went on a little bit of a bit of a LeBron hiatus.
Once. He had a knee injury and missed 2 weeks.
But here's the bigger thing is, I do think LeBron kind of started this one, right? When they asked him about the load management, he clearly wanted to make it some sort of point of, hey, man, I represent the bigger thing in the league, and I don't do that. That was a shot across the bow at what the Clippers are doing. You're right. The Clippers could not get into business with Kawhi Leonard unless they bowed to his whims of, you want to play 60 games? No problem.
No problem.
Right? And then, of course, the roster, in order to land him, and the weird thing about LeBron is, the hard part about LeBron is he actually doesn't tell you anything. It's the opposite. This is the first time he's actually talked about wanting to play all these games. LeBron, the hard part to coaching LeBron is you have to kind of tell by his mood and how he's playing if he likes you, if he doesn't like you. He's a body language guy. It's actually the opposite of what Doc is saying. But I think that the needle Doc is poking the bear with was poked. He felt like it was poked with him and LeBron taking a shot at load.
But here's the thing: LeBron was, when you say he was saying he's an ambassador, and
yes.
He's right.
No, he's right.
And I think LeBron also cares about the health of the sport for selfish and selfless reasons. Selfish meaning as far as his long-term, financial gain. The bigger the NBA is, the bigger he is. And selfless reasons because he's been the face of the league for 15 years, so he has that responsibility. And it is important that what Kawhi Leonard is doing does not metastasize to the rest of the league.
But it already has.
No, it has not.
It absolutely
Who
has.
else is load managing?
There's plenty of players who have missed
a game.
Yes.
But that is not the problem here. Because listen.
You say potato, I say potato. Are they missing the volume of games that
That's
Kawhi...
the whole thing.
No, but the idea of load managing is understanding the player, understanding his body, understanding the schedule, and giving him a night off every now and again.
And nobody has an issue with that. Nobody has an issue with guys playing 76 games. No one.
We absolutely have an issue with it sometimes. When LeBron didn't play, what was it, in Memphis 2 years ago?
Oh, no, of course. If LeBron does something, it's controversial, even if it makes sense. But the 76, missing 5 or 6 games throughout the season, that's what the Spurs originally did when they invented this thing with Tim Duncan. That was not the issue. The issue is the reigning finals MVP playing 3 out of 4 games, missing 25% of the season after last year missing 25% of the season. If that were to infect Harden and Giannis and Anthony Davis, it would be deadly for the sport. That's what LeBron was speaking out against, and I think rightfully at the time.
All right, let's move on. Talk some football now. To the NFL, Patriots, they're 11-3, but it's a little misleading 11-3 given their competition, given how many games they've won. So
First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Welcome back. We'll talk about the Cowboys and the Eagles in just a second, but first, Hornets and Kings, and Miles Bridges spinning off DeAndre Fox, throwing it down.
What a phenomenal athlete, huh?
Bridges, man, absolutely. And the Kings, it's nice they got De'Aaron Fox back. This is, I know your guy Luke Walton's a coach, but they got to get it together. They should be better than they've been.
Well, they were terrible to start, and then they were good, and then they've been disappointing.
You can't be losing to Charlotte. Come
Lakers and Pacers, LeBron throws the no-look.
Devontae Graham's having a great year, though, huh?
He is. Go ahead,
Dwight for the big slam.
This is, I once did a television show with someone who tried to convince me LeBron's passing was overrated, wasn't the passer Larry Bird is. I can't remember who this person was. I think it was Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, Larry Bird's a great passer.
Larry Bird's a great passer. He's the greatest passer ever.
No, he's not.
Okay, see, there we go. Once again. Okay.
Is he the greatest passer for a great player? Maybe. Okay, but like, is he
bring
Steve
Mark
Nash?
Jackson into this?
Yeah.
Oh,
you say he's a great passer ever. Mark Jackson's a better passer than you.
Just enjoy what you're seeing right there.
I am.
All right, let's see a little bit more of it. Rajon Rondo finds a cut, and LeBron for the reverse out to you.
Rondo, greatest passer ever.
Oh, well, that's an easy pass. And Rondo is a great passer, by the way. At this point, it's the only thing he does at a high level, aside from somehow get a bunch of minutes.
He's LeBron's guy. Remember he went to a college game with him last year, Virginia Duke? Like, that's so smart.
Oh, you think that's how he's getting the minutes?
Yes.
He's just cozying up to LeBron?
LeBron's guy.
You and Doc Rivers think LeBron just rules the puppet master.
Pacers side of it, Aaron Holiday giving it up to Domantas Sabonis for the dunk over Avery Bradley.
Domas Sabonis. Dad could have been in the conversation of greatest of all time had he not torn the Achilles tendon.
Greatest passers or just player?
He was a great passer.
Great passer, Arvydas Sabonis.
Great passer.
Agreed. Listen, Sabonis played well in the playoff series a couple years ago against LeBron's Cavs. He's a good player. The Pacers did really well in that Paul George trade.
Yeah, Kevin Pritchard. That's an unbelievable trade that they made.
Suns and Clippers, Kelly Oubre
This guy's in the highlights
punches a
every
vicious poster dunk over Paul George.
Oubre was in the highlights last year, so Oubre, Doug's big on the amateur basketball circuit. Oubre played against my son in Houston and was clearly a pro as a junior in high school. Like, there was no doubt about it. Wasn't great at Kansas. Now on his second team, hell of an athlete, man. And why is Patrick Beverly trying to guard him in the post?
That's the problem, though. Where are you going to hide Patrick Beverly? Suns so much improved because of Ricky Rubio.
Oh, Rubio take. I like it.
I like Ricky Rubio.
I would say coaching is a big part of it as well, but yeah, Rubio, I like it.
Let's talk some football now. Must-watch TV Sunday on Fox. Cowboys and Eagles from Philadelphia. At this time yesterday, the Cowboys were favored by 2.5. Our guys at Fox Bet now have the boys favored by 3 points on the road. Nick, you surprised the Cowboys are road favorites over the Eagles Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I am surprised. I think the line's wrong. I think that we are seeing...
You tell that line.
I think we are seeing exactly what happened with the Cowboys-Rams point spread from last week, where the Cowboys open as favorites because they're at home, and then it moves drastically in the Rams' favor because of recency bias. Because the Rams had all of a sudden looked competent. The Cowboys obviously hadn't played well as of late. So instead of looking holistically at the season... They looked
incredible.
Well, no, this was prior to last week. You looked at instead of looking at it holistically on the season going into Cowboys-Rams, which these are two teams that both underachieved. They've been about equals. The Cowboys are at home. The Cowboys have looked terrible. The Rams have looked great, so the Rams became favorites. This is a reaction to the Cowboys finally being the team so many people hoped they would be all year long, but the team they have not been for any extended stretch. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I think the Eagles will win. I think the Eagles are at least as good as the Cowboys, and the game is at home. Doug, you disagree?
Well, look, do I think that we all overreact to the Dallas Cowboys, good and bad? Yeah, I agree with that part. But if anybody out there can name who Carson Wentz is throwing to, congratulations, right? Like you and I know Greg Ward because Houston, right? He was wide receiver, then a quarterback, then a wide receiver, and he caught the game winner. But they needed a guy who had, I think, survived 6 different roster moves to catch the game winner in D.C. against Dwayne Haskins, a terrible Redskin team. They have been besieged by injuries. And even before they were at this point in the season, the last time these two teams met, the Cowboys ran over them. Cowboys are healthier than they've been. I just think this is a mismatch based upon the health around Carson Wentz, the health of that defense, which is not nearly what it used to be, and the fact that the Cowboys did look good, did change some things up, and they just have better personnel.
I guess my argument would be, who was Josh Allen throwing to when the Bills whooped the Cowboys on Thanksgiving? Mitch Trubisky.
But the defense dominated that game. Bills' defense is legit, right?
Bills' defense is legit, and the Bears' defense is legit, agreed. But both those teams ran up 20-plus consecutive points on this Cowboys